Listening to Albany's Community Radio, 100.9 FM. The time is 26 minutes to 11. I'm going to be talking to a man who started his working life as many things: a labourer, a waiter, a barman, worked in a mill, and then eventually rose to the dizzy heights of an accountant, and then gave it all away because he discovered music. Of course, I'm talking about Eric Bogle. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
That's good morning from me. Good afternoon for you.
Just. By 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Eric at the moment is in Adelaide, but very soon he will be here in Albany, to be sure. The date is the 30th of May. Have you been to Albany before, Eric?
Oh, quite a few times. I usually play in the town hall. The last 3 concerts I've done in Albany, I think I've played in the town hall, but apparently that's not a concert venue anymore, which is...
Yeah, it's a little bit in limbo.
Yeah, it's a pity. It's a lovely little theatre.
Yeah, it's I did hear rumours, and that's all they were, so I mustn't start too much, but that they were starting to, somebody was thinking to refurbish it and or bring it back up so that it could be used, because I think they stripped a lot of gear out, and it's sitting pretty vacant. Anyhow, that's another story.
Yep.
You'll be down at the Port Theatre.
Yeah, it's a new venue for me. I didn't know it existed, actually, until these people in Albany who heard I wasn't going to do a concert in Albany because we couldn't get a venue. You know, the entertainment centre is a lovely venue, but it's a wee bit expensive for them.
Yeah.
And then these people who, the Albany Choir, decided to take it upon themselves to organise a concert for me, which was very good of them. So that's, I'm looking forward to it very much.
You'll be down on the waterfront.
Yep.
You'll be right across the road from our brand new Albany Entertainment Centre, and you'll be in what used to be what's sometimes known as the old Spud Shed.
Well, I'm a bit of an old spud myself, so I should be right at home there.
What sort of a mill worker were you? Was it a flour mill, a wooden mill?
It was a woolen mill, textile mill. I worked as a bar filler, which was interesting. Basically, what I did was a vice with a bar of needles facing upwards and threaded the rib of the garment onto every rib onto one of the needles, and then passed it on to the frame worker, who then knitted it. It was not a job that engaged you intellectually.
And then you discovered rock and roll.
Well, I was a huge Elvis Presley fan, you know, and one of the local bands was looking for a new singer, and I'd sung at drunken parties and things like that, but never sang, you know, in public, really. So I decided to go along and give it a go, and much to my surprise, I got the job. Was
it because of your singing prowess, or because you had the vehicle?
I had the combi van.
So you reckon their motivations might have been a bit divided?
Well, I wasn't the world's best rock and roll singer, I have to admit that. But it was a good time. I was with the band for about 3 years, and we really just had a great time, you know, young, playing rock and roll, making noise, you know. That's what it's all about.
And then you became what is called a folk singer. Are you happy with that description?
Yeah, I mean, people always put labels on you, you know, because of laziness mostly, but I call myself a songwriter. But I'm not ashamed of the label folk singer. I know it's got some bad connotations. You know, people imagine, you know, a bloke in a big woolly jumper sitting in a pub with his fingers stuck in his ear, singing a, you know, 3-hour ballad. But folk music is a lot more diverse and interesting than that. Some
people, to do that sort of work and be labelled thus, I think of the Weavers. It cost them.
Yeah. I mean, what people forget is, you know, Bob Dylan started off folk singing. Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen. You know, the list goes on, and they honed their craft in folk clubs and folk festivals long before they became world famous. So, if you go to a folk festival in Australia today, the breadth of music is absolutely astounding. You get everything from traditional folk music, Australian or Irish or whatever, right through to blues and rap and, hip hop. One of the big attractions in the National Festival this year is a hip hop band. And so folk music is what you make it, I mean, the Big Bill Brunsey said, "I never heard a horse sing." So when people sing, it's folk music. So that's as good a definition as you'll get.
You said you're not so much a singer as a songwriter. Why do you write songs? What every in the morning? What compels you to get up? I'm going to write a song.
Well, what compels me to get up out of bed is usually my bladder. I'm at that age, Ken, but. I've always enjoyed writing poems, and making things rhyme. I know it's a trick, but I've always taken a certain satisfaction out of it. When I was young, I got politically involved in the world quite young, 16 or 17, and I found at that time that the only sort of music that was expressing political and social ideas that I agreed with was what you might call folk music. So that's why I got involved in the first place, and I fell in love with it, and it's been an enduring love affair. I'm still in love with it.
Do you hope to change the attitudes of people, the world?
No. I'd like to change the world. I'd like to fashion it in my own image, but I've never been arrogant enough to think that what I do will change anything. I mean, the only person in the world that my music has changed is me.
That's a good comment, that.
Well, I've had people whose a small corner of their lives has been affected or influenced by what I've written or what I've sung. But music by itself changes nothing. It's people who change things. I've always regarded music as a sort of banner that people can gather behind. People who feel the same as you can elect a song to act as a sort of flag for them, and they can march behind that flag. But real change comes through people themselves, taking part in things, being active, voting, that if we want to change the world, people will change it, not music.
Now, given that a lot of folk songs are there standing against the establishment, you were given a gong, the Order of Australia, which was from the establishment, so to speak. How did you react to that?
Well, it was a Labour government, of course. I mean, a Liberal government wouldn't have given me a gong, but a Labour government did. And I always think it was for writing a couple of nasty songs about former Liberal Prime Ministers. I don't think there was any lasting value I've given to entertainment in Australia. Because it was not a imperial honour. I accepted it. If it'd been a Queen's birthday thing, or a British thing, I was told me stuff it. But
you're a Scot anyhow.
Well, and also I think the Australian awards are very widely community based. You don't have to be a Sir Somebody to get one, though it helps. But if you read the lists of the Australia Day Awards every January, you'll see the incredible breadth of people represented, from the humble to the exalted.
Not necessarily all commerce and industry.
No, so I can accept that. I mean, I don't sign my letters Eric Bogle AM. In fact, most of the time I forget. In fact, I have no idea where the medals are, to be honest. They're somewhere in the house. I don't, take them out and look at them and, cradle them and cuddle them. And, they're just...
It's there.
It's there. It happened. It was a long time ago, anyway.
Now, you've admitted to the fact that you're no longer of a younger age. and when you were 16 or 17, you were interested in these political issues. One of the things about age is managing to maintain the rage that you had when you were young. Have you Now, you told me earlier when we were talking that you still marched in an anti-war or a peace thing?
Well, we had a huge anti-Iraq war march in Adelaide quite a few years ago. If you remember, John Howard sent the boys and girls into Iraq without a mandate from the Australian people and without a mandate from the UN at the time. And the large majority of our Australians were against it, as was proven in polls and marches that happened at the time. And John Howard exercised his version of Australian democracy and totally ignored us and put our boys and girls in harm's way. So myself and 99,000 other Adelaideans marched against that. If the cause is good enough, the cause still means something to me. I'll get off my backside and march or sing or write letters and all that sort of stuff. Once you stop being involved in the world and what's going around you, then book your room in the Bidewee retirement village, because that's where you're heading,
Right, now you've said you've been keeping an eye on the Albany weather, but you said it was to do with the ripening of the grapes.
Well, I've been keeping more Margaret River, I've got to be honest.
Oh, no. We're going to end the interview there now. There's a lot of friendly rivalry between Margaret River. We have a very good, not that I'm not an expert on wine, so you forgive me this one, but I am told by those who understand these things that our wine region, the quality of our wines, the amount and so forth, equals Margaret River. So, when you come, learn that.
Well, I know it's cool climate wines, mostly whites, which I'm not up on very much. I'm a red man myself, but I'm willing to sample anything, providing somebody wants to give me something.
Well, we'll put the message out there, folks. Albany Prongerups, Eric is willing to be persuaded that we're equally as good. So you've got a big suitcase, you can take some stuff home with. Are you coming by yourself, or are you bringing John or John Monroe?
I'm bringing John Monroe and a bass player called Pete Titchener. The front row, we call ourselves. I like touring with other musicians. It's more fun. Financially it can be a bit of a, blank page at times, but touring with other musicians is a lot of fun. And John and I have been touring together for over 30 years now. And John is actually heading up to Darwin for a couple of years after the tour. His wife has scored a really great job up in Darwin with the public service up there, so she's going there for a couple of years, and John, naturally enough, is going with her, and I think he's scored some sort of job as well.
A real job.
Yeah, a real job. I mean, it'll be a shock to his system.
Look, we haven't spoken much about
occasional concerts in Australia here and there. That's what airplanes are for. I'll just fly them down from Darwin when I need them.
Oh, well, cheap enough. We haven't spoken much about your concert. I presume that the sort of songs you'll be singing. Any new stuff?
I've got 2 or 3 new songs which I'll sort of road test. It's always good to try the new songs out in a live performance, because I've always considered the ultimate critic of what I write are the audience. I mean, it's whom I write the songs for. So if they don't get into the songs, if they don't like them, then I've wasted my time. I don't write songs for my own enjoyment, to sit in the bedroom playing them and think, oh, they're great. If I can't write songs that you communicate with my fellow human beings, then I'm wasting my time. So I always like, though it's always a bit of a scary time as well, to present new songs to a live audience and see what their reaction is.
Okay,
so
well,
I've got a couple that I'm going to try out and see how they go.
We can warn the folks then. Come along and see Eric. He's down at the Port Theatre down on the waterfront in Albany. You can make your bookings at the Albany Entertainment Centre, and the night is Wednesday the 30th of May, and the show starts at 8 o'clock. How long will you be in town for, Eric?
just overnight, I believe, which is a real pity. I mean,
you're driving, flying?
We're driving. I mean, I get so few chances to get down to the southwest, and it's on a really beautiful part of Australia. So if the logistics allow it, we always drive. Just to drive through the Carry Forest again will lift up my spirits a bit. So,
well, you don't want. Where are you coming from? Before you come to us, because if you're coming from Perth, you won't be going through the Carry Forests.
Oh, we'll make a diversion.
Oh well, allow yourself quite a bit of extra time then. Yeah, but if you were coming from Bunbury, a show or something over there, that'll be the way.
We are, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. The thing is, Ken, I usually just get off the plane and they point me in the direction I'm going, and off I go. You know.
Yeah. All right.
But I mean, whatever. We'll have a good time in W. We'll never fail not to. So.
Yeah. Okay, well look, it's been good talking to Eric. We're talking to Eric Bogle, who will be here in Albany on Wednesday the 30th of May. Book your tickets down at the Entertainment Centre, but the show is at the Port Theatre. You've got to make that difference. It's at the show, it's where Jesus Christ Superstar is now showing. That'll give some reality to the people.
And be followed by Eric Bogle Superstar.
Thanks, Eric. Good talking to you, and hope it all goes well when you come down here on the 30th.
No problem, Ken. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.